Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Mike Francesa podcast on the Bet Rivers Network, brought to you by Casamigos Tequila. Casamigos Tequila is brought to you by those who drink it. We come to you on this very early Friday morning, past midnight, on the Mike Francesa channel, on the Bet Rivers Network, on YouTube, as we wrap up Thursday night's NCAA tournament and also touch on the Yankee and Met openers as baseball opened across the nation today. Now, let's start with what was freshest and what just happened. Um, the Colorado State Maryland game was a good one, ending in the final seconds as Maryland made the shot after Colorado State made the shot. But this game in the Sweet 16 uh, was the really best game of the tournament and a remarkable comeback by Texas Tech, which looked out of this game almost from start to finish. I mean, give John Calipari credit for having his team ready to play. They had a great tournament, obviously knocking off St. John's and coming within an eyelash and really having a heartbreaking loss in overtime this evening after dominating the game, getting an incredible performance from Davis, who had 30 points, a lot of 30-point performances tonight. Davis had 30 in a losing effort. Love had 35 in a losing effort. Sears had 31 with his exploit from three in Alabama's enormous performance this evening. And then Cooper Flagg, the legend grows as he put up 30 points, leading Duke over a stubborn Arizona team, which played well and got 35 from Love and fell by 7 in the to Duke. And like I said, played a solid game for them and gave Duke really all they could handle. Duke actually opened a 19-point lead in the second half and didn't hold it. And I saw a couple of things there that at least would give you hope if you're a non-Dukester that they can be beaten. They can be beaten. I don't think I've come to the conclusion now from what I've seen. Last year at this time, I had told you before the tournament started, but I was completely convinced 2 games into the tournament that nobody was going to touch UConn. Nobody is unbeatable in this tournament. Nobody. Anybody can get beat. Whether you like Duke, whether you like Florida, whether you like Auburn, whoever you might like. Okay, Houston, they're all beatable. And they're all on pretty much the same level as far as that goes. Now, an incredible comeback from 16 points down, having a miserable shooting night, Texas Tech, having a poor performance from Toppin, who was, an inside player, big left-handed inside player who was having a terrible game, but who came alive in overtime and made a couple of big baskets. And, of course, in the first half, Williams was 1 for 11, made a 3 going into the halftime, and then came out and wound up with 20 points. Now, he took 26 shots, I understand that, but he made the 3 at the end of regulation to send this game into overtime, and then made the game winner as Arkansas then came down, took a 2, didn't go, and a heartbreaking overtime loss for the Hogs, who, like we said, played really well and showed themselves really well in this tournament. A superb tournament job by the much maligned John Calipari. A superb tournament performance by his team, and a heartbreaking defeat tonight after you open up what looked to be an overwhelming lead. And they were dominating the game. I mean, they were blocking shots. They had a big advantage. They were hitting threes. They hit a bunch of, against St. John's, they couldn't make a 3. In this game, they made 10 threes. But they went cold late. Texas Tech climbed back in and made a couple of miracle shots to send the game into overtime and got the game winners and got the baskets they needed to get in what was a tremendous basketball game. So Texas Tech goes on to play Florida in the regional final. Alabama, which only put up 113 points against BYU. And I have to admit, I was shocked how many people like BYU. Now, I was not on the BYU bandwagon this year, but I was shocked in reading about the game before it started and then listening to guys tonight on these, on the television. How many people thought BYU was going to beat them? I just didn't understand how BYU was going to cover them. Alabama is an impossible cover. Impossible. And if Sears is on his game, which he wasn't last game, okay, he's been in a big shooting slump. When he's on his game and he's knocking down threes like this, they're unbeatable. You're not going to beat them when he goes out and scores 30 points. But Bama and Duke's going to be a heck of a game. Plus, it's going to be played at 100. Duke got 100 tonight. Alabama got 113, and they took their foot off the gas pedal. They had 100 with 4.5 minutes left in the game. I mean, they could have scored 130 tonight if they didn't back it off in the last 6 minutes. They could have. That's you know what it was. BYU couldn't cover them on the perimeter and gave them so many open threes, and they hit a million of them. I mean, they just made 3 after 3. I think they wound up with an all-time record from 3, Alabama. If I remember right, I think they broke the all-time record with tonight's performance. I think they hit 25 threes, the most ever. They were 25 of 51 from 3 in the game. 51 threes. Who do they think they are? The Celtics? 51 threes in a college game, 113 points in a college game. 113 points. BYU goes out there tonight, scores 88 points, and gets beat by 25. I mean, that's crazy. It really is. So, great comeback win by Texas Tech. Heartbreaking defeat for Arkansas. Florida put Maryland away. The Maryland thing was listen, I don't know what's going on at Maryland. I haven't paid much attention. It sure sounds like Willard is in a serious negotiation, if not serious flirtation with Villanova. I don't know if he's using Villanova to get more out of Maryland. I don't know if he wants out of Maryland. Supposedly their AD is on his way to SMU. There's been all kinds of stuff going on. I don't know where this lands. It sounds like he's out of Maryland and could be on his way to Villanova. We'll find out. It was not a pretty situation, though, what went on this week with Maryland. Not a pretty situation at all. When you're in a Sweet 16, it should be a time of celebration and cohesion. It should not be a time like this. This was bad. It was really ugly, and it was actually distasteful. Let's be honest. You don't want to be in that position ever. All right, so let me get to tomorrow's games real quick, and then I'll get to the baseball. Tomorrow we started off with Ole Miss, very well coached by Beard, against Michigan State. Obviously, Izzo, who is the is on in years, but now is a master of March. He always has been. Good game. Michigan State's a 3.5 point favorite. I think it's going to be a very close game. I think Michigan State will probably pull it out. But again, I expect a very close game. Then Kentucky and Tennessee. That's the Sweet 16 game in the Midwest. Obviously, an incredible rivalry. Kentucky's offense against Tennessee's defense. Tennessee's a 4-point favorite. Auburn is an 8.5 point favorite over Michigan, which is a live dog. I think Auburn will outlast them, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's close. And then Purdue is an 8-point underdog in Indianapolis. They're going to have all the fans, but they, I think, are going to suffer a defeat by double digits to Houston because I think this is a terrible matchup for them. I don't think they can handle Houston on the backboards. I don't think they can handle Houston's pressure defense. They turn the ball over repeatedly. They can shoot the ball. If they get enough possessions, if they can get possessions, they can be in this game to the end. I think they're going to get hurt because I think Houston's going to get offensive rebounds off them, and I think they're going to turn Purdue over. Purdue has had trouble turning the ball over all year. That's been Florida's problem, too. Florida in the first half tonight was atrocious again, turning the ball over. And Clayton sleptwalked through this game tonight. I mean, just sleptwalk it. I guess he figured let everybody else do it tonight, but he was just not even a factor. He wasn't even there. Um, so we have a Florida Texas Tech and a Duke Alabama, two solid games in the regional finals, and then we have Auburn against Michigan, Ole Miss, Michigan State, Houston, Purdue, and Kentucky, Tennessee. Those are the four games tomorrow. Now to the baseball. Let's start with the Yankees. Uh, it was a very matter of fact win for them today. If you just count the ninth inning, the ninth inning could have gotten extremely, extremely crazy, and it would have been a very rude, very, very rude uh, initial greeting for Williams had he blown a 4-1 lead in the ninth inning. He didn't. And if you ever wondered in your life, okay, ever wondered for a second what spring training means, then I give you Jackson Cherio. Okay? Cherio is, as you know, you watched him last year in the postseason. You know, last year he became the youngest guy ever to have a 2020 season. He's a brilliant talent. They gave him $80 million before he ever played in the majors. Okay, we know he is a superb talent. He hit 463 in the spring. 463. Today he went 0 for 5 and struck out 5 times as the leadoff hitter for Milwaukee. Struck out 5 times. Now he came up and Williams not getting the ball over the plate. He's having trouble with his vintage changeup. He second and third, no out, right? Now the bases are loaded. Gives up the fly ball, so it's a run. Now he's got two on, and the very, very talented leadoff hitter up for the Brewers. He dumps a base hit into right field there after they steal second base. It's a tie game, and he's on base as a base stealing threat. Or he does more damage than that. Instead, he strikes out, as does Yelich, and Williams gets out of it with a hold your breath kind of save that went 36 pitches. You know, when a closer, one of your bona fide ninth inning specialists like he is, top of the line closer comes in and he throws over 30 pitches, he is in Never Never Land. He was fortunate to get taken off the griddle there. That game could have gone south on him in a very big way. It didn't, and the Yankees got themselves a 4-2 win. They get the home run by Wells, the home run by Volpe, a very nice bounce for Judge, who gets a ball that would have been a force out. Instead, it hits the bag, and he winds up getting a double. A sac fly on a short fly ball that Cheros had trouble in the sun with, so there was no throw. That was not a good throw to the plate. That gave Bellinger an RBI at least. The bottom line is, matter of fact, win except for the ninth inning, and the Yankees get their opening day victory, so everybody leaves the Bronx happy. For the Mets, 3-1 loss in Houston. Obviously, they had their moments, okay? They had their moments late in the game. Nimmo up with the bases loaded and hits the line drive to center field. And then we know what happens in the ninth inning. Soto had been on base 3 times with a couple of walks and a base hit. A base hit, if you're keeping score, in his first at bat ever. And then we know what happened as the game ended when he could have been the hero. He wasn't. And the Mets fall. Holmes did not have his control. But again, hey, an unearned run 2 earned runs, 4 and 2/3, throws 90 pitches, no big deal. Okay, wasn't great. Obviously, wild. We know he gets wild. We know that his ball has a habit of, having a little bit of a life of its own at times. We've seen it before. He didn't have great command today. It happens. It's early. I wouldn't make a big deal out of anything. So, if you were waiting for Soto to have his moment, he had the opportunity. This table was set, and he obviously didn't didn't give you that dramatic moment on the road in game number 1. So the Mets fall 3-1 in game number 1. The uh, Yankees win 4-2. It was a good day for certain teams. Orioles with a lot of pop, obviously. A couple of guys hitting 2 home runs. Uh, big home run by Wilmer Flores to win a game. Big home run against the Reds for the Giants. Um, 2 teams that I both picked as overs this year were playing each other. Reds blow a game in the 9th, which I'm sure didn't make their manager very happy. Flores comes through. A few Met fans who still love the ex-Met. So that's where we are for baseball. But remember, uh, we have a long, 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 long way to go. So again, uh, everyone overreacts to opening day, but one down and a whole bunch to go as the baseball season unfolds, as it will each day. Yankees have the day off on Friday. The Mets will be playing in Houston tomorrow night. So they will face Hunter Brown tomorrow night in Houston at 8 o'clock as they will get ready to play a game number 2. So that's where we are right now. A good day for the Yankees. It was chilly. It was windy. At least it was sunny. Wasn't great baseball. Well, wasn't bad baseball weather. I mean, you listen. If it's not snowing on in the last week in March, or the wind isn't blowing, at 30 miles an hour, so the wind chill's, 28. You count your blessings as the sun's out, and away you go. So, looked like the stadium looked great. Stadium was packed. They get their W, and away you go. So that's all you can ask for, And for the Mets, hey, it's a long, long season. So have some patience. But I know everyone wants to make this a daily saga between the two players. But hey, like I said, we got a long, long way to go. So the headline tonight was an incredible comeback for Texas Tech. I was trying to think of a regional game that saw such an enormous comeback, a game this deep in the tournament or past the first 2 rounds, that saw this kind of quickly. Someone said this was the second biggest comeback in tournament history in the regionals or later. I'm trying to remember. Now, I can remember some NCAA tournament games. I mean, I can remember UConn being way down and coming back and winning in the championship game. I can remember Duke getting way behind. Seton Hall getting way behind Duke and coming back and winning on in the semifinals. I can remember some comebacks there. I don't know where this ranks as far as overall comebacks with how much time there was on the clock. They were out of the game. I was watching both games, and I mean, they were down, and they weren't getting any with 6 minutes left. They weren't getting anywhere. They really weren't. They hadn't really put a dent into it. It was, it just looked like it was going to go. It was just going to be one of those nights. They They were flirting back and forth. Toppin was on a bench. He had a disappointing night. They were down with 6 minutes left. They were down 9. With 5 minutes left, they were down 5:22 left after Davis hits 2 free throws. They're down 11 points with 5 minutes left. They're down 13 points after a Davis basket with 4:44 left. I think that's the high water mark. At 4:44, they're down 13. Yep, that's where it started. They hit a 3 to make it 69-59. They got a layup from Williams to make it 69-61. They got another layup from Williams to make it 69-63. They had gone cold during this time. They get a 3 from Anderson now to make it 69-66. It looks like they are done when Davis drives to the basket, gets the shot clock blocked. There's 4 seconds left on the shot clock, and they get a loose ball. They throw it into the corner, and Knox, who was a pain in the neck all night, hits a 3 to put them up 6 with 1:32 left. And then Williams misses, and Davis has the ball up 6 with 1:16 left, and you're thinking they're out of this game. But they get a steal, and they get the Anderson 3, and now it's 72-69, and then Williams ties it up with 10 seconds left at 72 with a clutch 25-footer from the right side, and they hold for the last shot. Wagner drives to the basket. Calipari wants a foul. You're not getting a foul there. You know that. I don't care what happens there. They're going to let that 10 seconds play out in a tie game. He takes a off-balance shot on the baseline from about 14 feet. It just catches a little rim. Then the overtime starts with the goaltending against Toppin, which was a good call because he put the ball up on the backboard and it was rising and they hit it. So you don't know if it's going in or not. I don't know if it was or it wasn't. You couldn't really tell, but it was clearly goaltending. It was a good call. And then back and forth they went. They tied it up. They took the lead. They tied it up. They took the lead. And then next thing you know, they get beat on the Williams basket. You can sit here and say that Arkansas threw this game away. That's fine. They had a 13-point lead and the ball with 4 minutes left. They had an 8-point lead in the ball with 1:16 left. That's fine if you want to say that. A 6-point lead in the ball with 1:16 left. You want to say that, fine. They played a heck of a game. Texas Tech was fighting uphill all night. I give Texas Tech credit for staying positive. I give them credit for never losing their composure, even though things were going. They were not getting big games out of their stars. They could not buy a basket, but they hung in there, and they hung in there, and they hung in there, and it was a heck of a show of perseverance. It really was. Terrific win for them. Heartbreaking loss for Arkansas, absolutely. Terrific win for Texas Tech, really was. Sets them up against Florida. They'll be an underdog. Alabama will be an underdog against Duke in a game where I don't know if there's ever been a college over-under that approached 200, but you know what? 190 might be light in that game. 185 seems like a steal because these guys are going high 90s. They might both go 100 the way they're going. Tonight, Duke got 100, 193. Alabama got 113. They're going to go back and forth. 100 points. Wow. We'll see you tomorrow.